a very indeed important topic and a relevant topic today that we are discussing on the role of artificial intelligence, but I would say in a broader context, the role of science, technology, and innovation in spurring the growth not only of our nation, but also that of the world. And when we talk of growth, we are not talking just about economic and prosperity, growth related to financial development, but we're also talking about societal growth and societal good. And nowhere has the time been more relevant than now, with the COVID-19 crisis striking us in a very unprecedented manner. A simple virus has paralyzed nations across the world. It has disrupted supply chains across the world. It has disrupted lives and livelihoods in India and in many other parts of the planet. And it has also created an age of uncertainty, a fear of uncertainty of what is to come in the future. We are not only interested in knowing how to solve the current pandemic problem, but we are also very keen to know what it is life going to be in a post-COVID-19 world. But along with great crisis also come great opportunities and great revelations. One of the things that COVID-19 has revealed to us is the power of technology and how technology has been shaping the world over the last several years. It has completely changed the way you are experiencing the world, the way the world is experiencing you. And as a result of which, today you and I are connected on this wonderful digital medium. We are able to communicate not only with each other, but we are able to communicate with hundreds and thousands of other people at the same time. We are able to continue life in a manner that we did not expect. We are still able to survive the onslaughts of a virus. It has opened our eyes to the possibilities of greater innovations that we should be doing leveraging technology. For as all of you would agree, my dear friends, technology has not only become affordable, it has become accessible, it has become advanced, and it has become available. As a result, a lot of things are being changed and the world is being reimagined through the leverage of technology. 3D printers are revolutionizing the way you are able to design, develop, and manufacture a product right in front of your eyes. And you don't need a large manufacturing factory in order to be able to do that. Communication technologies is enabling you to communicate and to do business and transactions from Salem to San Francisco, from Sikkim to Seattle. The power of technology is enabling your reach to become global, to be able to access information from anywhere and to be able to market your goods and services to any place and to respond to any crisis instantaneously. Robotics is changing the way automation is happening in the world. Through robotics, you are introducing IR 4.0 technologies, Industry Revolution 4.0 technologies, and you are able to now manufacture and generate productivity at a completely unprecedented level. Transportation systems are being developed, advanced transportation systems leveraging electric technology and electric mobility, which is now revolutionizing the way you can control emissions in the planet and thereby limit the impact of climate change. You are having wireless services, whether it is 5G technologies, which are making plant-to-plant, machine-to-machine communication possible. You're also having 5G technologies, which is going to enable every plant, device, or even the human being to get connected to computerized connecting systems. Now that is where artificial intelligence has begun to make sense. You see, artificial intelligence was not something new. It was a concept that was existing several years ago. Even when I was growing up as a student in my school back in the 70s and the 80s, we used to talk about artificial intelligence. But artificial intelligence needed the convergence of affordable, accessible, available, and advanced computing, communication, and sensor technologies to come to bear in order for it to become useful. And that is where we are now today. We are today in a world where computing technologies has advanced exponentially. You have nano computing, you have objective technologies and object-oriented programming languages which are enabling revolution in software development. You're having advances in communication technologies and very fast, high speed, large data communication technologies. You're having advancements in big data and analytics, the ability to process large amounts of data in very short periods of time. Now, when you have this convergence of computing, communication, and big data analytics, software engineering technologies, when you have that convergence, artificial intelligence becomes a natural outcome. Because what is artificial intelligence? It is the mimicking of human intelligence. Now, when we are talking of human intelligence, what do we do as a human being? We process various inputs coming through various our sensory organs, whether it is the eyes, the ears, the feel, the touch, and so on. And all of this data comes and we process them at lightning speed, and we are able to detect patterns. We are able to make sense of what we are seeing. We are able to take decisions. Now, the same thing is being enabled through large amounts of data being communicated, whether it is through social feeds, communication feeds, or sensor technologies, and very powerful computing, which can fit in the size of your pocket. And that computing power is able to process these technologies and is able to detect new patterns. It is able to detect mine new information from all the data that is being gathered, and it is now able to start making decisions. And these decisions would be supporting human endeavor for further growth and further prosperity, as well as for further societal good. Now, if you look at artificial intelligence, there is no sphere of activity, no vertical which cannot be impacted by artificial intelligence. Take agriculture, you need precision agriculture. In a country like Israel, which is in a desert, you are having now export of water and export of food. Now, how did that happen? It happens because of sensor technologies and computing technologies and AI technologies coming together to create precision agriculture. You see, when you're watering a field and you're watering a crop and you're irrigating a particular crop, you need to know through various sensory data the exact amount of fertilizer that needs to be put, the exact amount of water that needs to be irrigated, and the exact time at which the harvesting has to be done. That is called precision agriculture. Just like you have precision machinery and precision engineering, you are able to bring precision to every aspect of healthcare, education, water management, waste management, housing, smart housing, and so on. And therefore, you are now able to create systems which are going to help you. Robotic systems, computerized systems, leveraging also the power of the mobile phone and the smartphone to be able to direct the simple farmer who is not necessarily knowing all the other technologies, but how to deliver that information which is relevant to the farmer so that his farm or her farm is able to double the productivity and his or her income gets doubled because of eliminating all the middlemen. Now, that is what technology can do. And that is what artificial intelligence is the most exciting thing that is happening on the planet. Every solution that you see in every sphere of your activity, whether it is in education, look at education. How do we, for example, ensure that we direct the right type of education to the right person with the right talent and the right aptitude? This is a problem. Many times we force our children to learn in a particular area. The child may be very good in art, they may be very good in writing, they may be very good in poems, but you will be forcing them into engineering. And that's not in their aptitude. That's not what they want to do. But if I have an AI-enabled system, it will quickly be able to detect that this child, based upon a pattern that you are seeing over the years, is actually an artist. And therefore, giving that child the opportunity to express her or his innovative talent in art, and giving that expression through the learnings and the teachings that the child is able to imbibe will create the artists of the future. And that is in education. And we all have similar things to explain in various aspects of our lives. And this is why the Atal Innovation Mission has been launched in order to create this culture of innovative thinking, which is required in order to use these technologies to solve the problems. We want to create problem solvers of the future. We want to create the innovators of the future. We want to create the job creators of the future. India is 1.3 billion people. We have 1.4 million schools. We have 10,500 engineering and related institutions. We have 39,000 colleges. We have 150 million young students entering into the workplace. How do we ensure that this demographic dividend, which is the envy of many a country, which countries are feeling that, wow, India is having this enormous youthful energy and this enormous youthful strength to carry it to the next several decades? How do we ensure that this demographic dividend gets empowered with the tools, the technology, the knowledge, and the skills to deal with solutions and create solutions for tomorrow? And that is why we are setting up thousands of adult tinkering labs across the country. We have set up more than 5,000 tinkering labs today, which are operational, with 2.5 million students getting exposed to the latest of technologies like 3D printers, robotics, IoT devices, miniaturized electronics, augmented virtual reality, do-it-yourself kits. We have launched, along with NASSCOM, artificial intelligence basic and step-up modules so that children between grade 6 to grade 12 start understanding what AI solutions are all about. Now, you may think, isn't this too young an age for them to be inducted into AI? No, it is not, because today you have technology which is in a plug and play mode. And the concept of the technology and the concept of how that technology can solve the problem can be imbibed and can be introduced to children at a young age. And why do we want to do that? We want to do that because we want to convert them from a rote learning mindset that we have all got used to. We have all got used to get good marks, go to a good university, get good marks again, go to the next big university abroad, get good marks again, and go and get a new job, whether it is in IBM or TCS or Wipro or Infosys and so on. We have trained our people to become job seekers. Now, it has served us well, mind you. We have created a $191 billion ITS industry because of our focus on education, because of our focus on rote learning. But are we not undermining the potential of our innovative young Indian students? And yes, we are, if we will continue them on the rote learning mindset. We need to transform them into a problem-solving, innovative mindset. And that is why these adult tinkering labs are a game changer in the educational system. And it is aligned with the new educational policy that the current government has rolled out, where we want to make sure that our children become problem solvers of tomorrow. Not just the best educated, but they actually create the solutions that the world needs, that new India needs, that we all dream about. And that is why when these students go into the university, we are creating world-class incubators. These incubators will foster world-class startups. Now, why do we need startups? We are already a startup nation. We have 55,000 startups in our country. We have over 400 incubators today in our country. And this is all because if you do not enable the startup and help the startup at crucial stages of its life cycle, they fall into what are called as valleys of death. And we want to eliminate these valleys of death, and therefore the government is giving a grant of up to 10 crores to each of these incubators so that they will be able to nurture and hold the startup at these critical valleys where they don't want them to fall to their death, but they want them to be able to bridge it. And by doing so, we will create a startup nation, one of the most innovative nations of our world. And what are these startups doing? These startups are leveraging AI technology, IoT technology, augmented reality, virtual reality technologies to create solutions, whether it is agri-tech, whether it is biotech, whether it is in healthcare, whether it is in education, whether it is in waste management, whether it is in transportation or electric mobility, whether it is in addressing the aspirational districts of our country, the problems of the aspirational districts of our country. We are using artificial intelligence, satellite-based, communication-based, and cognitive technologies to be able to bring to bear in creating the solutions which are needed for tomorrow. And in order to promote innovation across in the rural India, tier 2, tier 3 cities, which is very important. You see, we have 8,000 towns and cities in our country. We have only 8 tier 1 cities. We cannot have the entire 8,000 towns and cities and 600,000 villages people flocking to the 8 tier 1 cities. That is what is creating the urban migration problem. But science, technology, and innovation can help address this problem. So what we want to do is we are setting up hundreds of community innovation centers across in rural India, tier 2, tier 3 cities, so that you are spurring innovations, leveraging AI, leveraging all the technologies that I talked about, to create local innovation relevant to that community and local job creation. Take, for example, a tribal city, a tribal district. How can we ensure that we generate employment in the tribal districts? We can do that by creating new opportunities in forest management, water management, electricity management. The tribal skills and tribal handicrafts can be, we can ensure that they can reach across to the different parts of the world. And that is why these Atal Community Innovation Centers will play a big role in not only enhancing the implementation of innovation which is relevant to that particular community in the rural districts and the tier 2, tier 3 cities of India, but they will also help in spurring new innovation and new job creation. And in order to create solutions which are relevant to our country, we are launching what are known as ARISE and Atal New India Challenges, Applied Research and Innovation for small enterprises, and Atal New India Challenges for the larger ones. Now, these challenges are worked along with ministries. So we work with different ministries, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation, Ministry of Manufacturing or the MSME industry, to identify with ISRO, with defense. And we have just recently launched 15 challenges so that solutions using AR, VR, using artificial intelligence, using IoT technologies, using communication and computing, advanced computing technologies will be presented, and they will be given a grant of up to 1 crore or 50 lakhs, depending upon the nature of the innovation. All of this will go to address what the Honorable Prime Minister says in his clarion call, the 5 pillars of Atmanirbhar Bharat. The pillar of demographic dividend, the pillar of infrastructure. We need smart infrastructure, not only the physical infrastructure for the 600,000 villages and cities, but we need digital infrastructures and digital highways where the ability to leverage AI and other technologies will come into play and will enable our young population to acquire the skills and become the most innovative nation of the world. The pillar of demand, which the Prime Minister has talked about. We have 1.3 billion people. So the demands of our country are many. We have 715 districts, out of which 115 are aspirational districts. And these aspirational districts are in the bottom of the pyramid in terms of access to healthcare, education, affordable housing, drinking water, or waste management. We want to bring the benefits of innovation, technology, and AI to bear in each one of these solutions. And finally, the pillar of socio-economic progress. How do we ensure that we do not increase the digital divide and we do not increase the economic divide? How do we reduce the divide between the haves and the have-nots? That is what is required for a country like India, where 22% of our country is still below the poverty line, where 44% of our country is agri-economy based. We have to make sure that we carry them along as we rise to prosperity for the rest of the country. So we need to ensure that social innovations are encouraged as much as economically driven innovation. And social innovation will at their heart have AI because it is based upon data collection, data analysis, big data analytics, and big data processing. When you do that, the AI systems will tell us where do we need to focus to address the gap, the digital divide or the economic divide. And then truly, we will become an Atmanirbhar Bharat. So artificial intelligence, my dear friends, is here to stay. There is a lot of talk whether artificial intelligence is going to create job problems. No. In fact, it is going to spur new jobs because AI is required in every field. You know, so far over the last few years, everybody has been flocking only to the electronic or IT disciplines. But now, suddenly, there is a great need for civil engineers, for aeronautical engineers, for construction engineers, for healthcare sector, in biotech, and so on, because artificial intelligence permeates through all of these verticals, and it will be needed to create solutions. And unless you are familiar with the domain of that particular engineering or in that particular area, and even if you take art, and even if you take and the example that was given earlier by Dr. Manoj on how it can help you to write a poem, how it can help you to edit a prose, whether it is prose, whether it is poetry, whether it is art, or whether it is engineering, all of them can benefit from artificial intelligence. But it is also important for us as we move into the world of artificial intelligence to see that AI is harnessed for good. Any technology can be harnessed both for good or it could be misused. We know the harmful effects of nuclear technology. We also know the beneficial effects of nuclear technology. So technology has to be used to ensure that the harmful effects of technology are also eliminated or reduced. It is like a knife in the hands of a surgeon. It saves a life. In the hands of a killer, it kills. We need to become surgeons using artificial intelligence for good, and this has to be ingrained in every school of discipline that we inculcate in the children. Ethics, values, integrity, and knowledge about how technology can be leveraged for good should be an integral part of the education that every student receives. I'm sure with this, our nation will become one of the most innovative nations of the world, and we will achieve the new India of our dreams. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to share a few thoughts on this particular occasion.